I would like to thank you for your nice introduction. And I also like to thank Professor Fenza invited me to here second time. I was here last year and I gave the presentation about the receptor image in bipolar disorder. I'm so happy I have the second chance and to attend this wonderful meeting. Today, I am the representative of Asia College of Neuropsychopharmacology, and I came from Taipei. And I also bring 3 young psychiatrists from my group. They are sitting here. And I hope next time I can bring more Asia colleagues to attend this wonderful meeting. So today, I would like to present this topic. I would say it's not very new idea, but we are setting a new working model for schizophrenia. So that's my hospital in Taipei, which is the biggest public hospital in Taipei. So I'm working in the Department of Psychiatry, so I'm a clinical scientist for the research. So 110 years ago, when Kraepelin proposed the concept of dementia precocia, by time involving the several domains has been developed for schizophrenia, which include the positive symptom, include the hallucination, delusion. Negative symptoms include blunted affect, anhedonia. But of course, we have some other domains. But the problem for the researcher is we would like to find an underlying substrate to explain why people express these clinical symptoms. So I did an image study, and we are trying to correlate these symptoms with abnormality in the brain regions. So that's what I would like to present today. That's a large meta-analysis which published 10 years ago in American Journal of Psychiatry. This meta-analysis includes 13 very nice MR study, which to measure the volume of brain in the schizophrenia. And as you can see, I apologize, this very small character, but I just want to let you know the most commonly reported brain area which shows abnormality is medial temporal cortex. So it's a little bit unexpected as a previous concept, since we always think the prefrontal cortex is the major abnormalities for schizophrenia, but actually the brain area can serve different substrates for the clinical symptoms. So we start a project to just focus on the medial temporal cortex. So we focus on the hippocampus because hippocampus is a major component for the medial temporal cortex. So I just want to help you to review the anatomy and the physiology of hippocampus. That's hippocampus. It's a longitudinal along with the brain long axis. And this is a cartoon showing the red area. That's a bilateral hippocampus. So that's quite important for many diseases, not only for schizophrenia, but also for the bipolar disorder or major depressive disorder. Actually, the abnormalities, particularly the reduction of hippocampus volume in schizophrenia, has been consistently reported. So this is another early meta-analysis and a very early study showing the reduction of hippocampus volume in schizophrenia. And in the following study, many report the change of hippocampus volume in schizophrenia. But there is a caveat for this previous study because they only can measure the total volume of hippocampus. So they just give you a very simple figure and showing the right or left side or total volume of hippocampus change. So that's a problem because the hippocampus actually is a long anatomical location. It's along with the longitudinal axis of brain, as I just mentioned about. So we can use different technique to delineate three parts: is head part, body, and the tail. But in another way, the hippocampus can also be can be divided by the subfield, because a lot of area just inside the hippocampus, like a CA area, dental gyrus, which is very important currently, because a lot of animal study has reported the neurogenesis can happen in the dental gyrus. By the new technique, we can reconstruct this subfield. So in the future study, we can study the hippocampus in terms of the anatomic longitudinal axis that includes head, body, and the tail. But we also can reconstruct the subfield, and we can see the longitudinal way include the CA area, dental gyrus, subicular area. So that anatomy has been divided into two parts. But of course, physiology function is very important, since the hippocampus includes three major functions that include the memory function, emotional control, and particularly important is the spatial orientation. This function has got the Nobel Prize last year, since Professor O'Keefe in Norway, they found the hippocampus is a GPS for human. So it's very important. So in my presentation, I will try to find the change of hippocampus volume, and in particular, we wanted to find any place can correlate with spatial navigation function. So I will present this very early data. So I make a literature review. Actually, it's not so many studies can correlate the negative symptoms with hippocampus function. But it's very controversial, because it's very difficult to just give you one domain and link to one brain area. So currently, only two studies did the hippocampus volume measurement. One is they include a lot of patients predominantly has negative symptoms. The second one is they found a correlation with negative symptom of schizophrenia, but it's not only the reduction of hippocampus volume, but also they found the hippocampus volume should combine with cortical thickness. So it's still very difficult. But some other study, they found actually it's a positive symptom can be linked to the hippocampus. So it's still in the very early stage. We try to understand the role of hippocampus in the clinical symptoms of schizophrenia. So we did this study. I would say we just start this working model, and in the future we will do some mechanism study. But in the first study, we would like to know if the patient they get a reduction of hippocampus, if it's in any specific region, and we want to compare the patient if they are in the symptomatic remission or not. The second aim was we want to find if any reduction of area can be linked with the function of spatial navigation. We use a psychological test to find this function in the human being. So that's the study, and we recruit 31 schizophrenia and 31 healthy control. They are age matched. And everyone should receive the one MR scan in order to we can analyze the image. But for those patients, they should receive the stable treatment at least 6 months, and they should fit the remission criteria, which was proposed by Leandro Anderson group. That's a remission consensus And this consensus was published in 2005 in American Journal of Psychiatry. So we can divide the patient who was in remission and who was not. So we compare 3 groups. The first group is a patient with a remission. The second group is patient without remission. And the third group is a healthy control. We did an image study, and we use 3 ways to do image analysis. The first one is we use a very traditional way. It's a statistic parametric mapping, SPM. And this method has a caveat. That was it only can do the qualitative analysis, but it cannot do the quantitative analysis. And the second way, we did the manual way, and we use this manual way in a software called P-mode, and we can reconstruct this image. I will show you this later. And the second one, we use a free software, which can define the subfield. And we use a different dimension to see the hippocampus. But of course, all patients, they received the maze study. The maze study, we can be representative the spatial navigation, and we did the simple maze and the complicated maze. So we want to get a correlation with this cognitive function and the abnormalities of hippocampus volume. Of course, statistic, we use GLM, and to find out the differences between 3 groups. We also did linear regression analysis to find out any demographic data can predict the change of hippocampus volume. So that's the description of demographic data. As you can see, that's 31, remission is 17, non-remission 14. Actually, in the beginning, we are trying to find its age and gender match, but when we separate into 2 groups, in remission and non-remission, that becomes the gender, it's difficult to become matching, but the age is still matching. And we evaluate the educational level and the remission score, the age of onset, duration of illness, and we translate the antipsychotic dose as a chlorpromazine equilibrium dose. So as you can see, several demographic data, they are different, include education and duration of illness and chlorpromazine equivalent dose. One point I need to explain to you is remission criteria is also statistically significant difference, but we did not take into account because remission criteria was from the 8 items. If each item below, if all items below score 3, that's remission. So if anyone, even they have a very low total score of remission, but if only 1 item above 3, then this patient will become non-remission group. So the total score of remission is not reliable, so we did not take into account this one. We just separate them into different groups. So that's the image. As in the A, in your left side, is SPM image. And you can see the only hippocampus tail, they are different between patient and the healthy control. We did 2 other ways. First one is we use manual, and we can separate the head, body, and the tail. Another one, we use a free software, and we can see the subfield in different longitudinal aspects. So we use 3 ways to see the hippocampus in different dimensions, and we just try to correlate this field and with clinical, particular the cognitive function. So that's very interesting. When we get the GLM, when we did the GLM, we found the total hippocampus volume, and we also separate between left side and the right side, and we found actually the patient in remission and the non-remission, they are no different. So only different is compared with healthy volunteer. So by this slide, we found no matter the patient is in symptomatic remission or not, the reduction of hippocampus volume is true. It's much lower than the health control. So in this paper, even the case is not very big, but we replicate the previous data, and we found the reduction of hippocampus volume in schizophrenia, and we just add some information. Even the patient is in symptomatic remission, the reduction of hippocampus is true. So this tells us maybe current antipsychotics to treat schizophrenia is still not enough, because these antipsychotics may be only symptomatic treatment. But in the following, we wanted to see if any subfield or the longitudinal axis is different. I apologize, this is a very busy slide, but I put the red score here. In the upper row, we can see that's a manure. So we can separate in the head, body, and tail. But in the lower row, that's the subfield. So we can see the CA area, 1, 2, 3, 4. We can see the dental gyrus. We can separate them into the subfield. But of course, we can see a very interesting, by the longitudinal axis, only body did not change between the healthy volunteer and the schizophrenia, but the head and the tail, they shrink. But for the subfield, only several small areas, but particular for the CA2, CA3, and the CA4 and the dental gyrus. As I just mentioned about, the dental gyrus is very important since the neurogenesis can happen in dental gyrus. So we found subfield, they are shrinked. So I just want to give a summary is we found several areas by manure that's in terms of longitudinal axis, and we also found some subfield. So that's the hippocampus field. It's not the total hippocampus. But it's worthy to note was the CA2, CA3, CA4, and the dental gyrus is the right side. But for the head and the tail, in both sides, they shrink. The next step, we would like to know which demographic data contribute this shrinkage of hippocampus. So we make linear regression analysis. That's we dig out the all area which shows shrinkage. And we just did the linear regression analysis. We put gender, education, duration of illness, intracranial volume, since we also measure the intratotal brain volume, and we show the correct by total intracranial volume, and the chlorpromazine equilibrium dose, and if the patient is remission or not. As we can see, the only one model can be expanded, that's right tail. The right tail is a very interesting place, and it's quite long and in the posterior hippocampus. We also did a similar linear regression analysis for those subfields, but we found there was no statistical significance for all region which can be described by the subfield. So the second point we would like to express was maybe the concept of longitudinal axis can be more reliable for clinician to understand the hippocampus function, because when we compare with subfield, it doesn't work explained by the demographic data or some other measured data. I repeat this model was that when we see this is the only model can be explained by those factors, and those factors has a very interesting point. It's a negative association with duration of illness and a positive correlation with chlorpromazine equivalent dose. So I made this graph. As you can see, if the patient, they are in remission, it's did not related to any change of duration of illness or chlorpromazine equivalent dose. But if the patient, they are in non-remission, as you can see, very significant, it's a negative correlation with duration of illness and a positive correlation with chlorpromazine equivalent dose. This figure we try to explain because why non-remission cases, they have a very unstable hippocampus. They are correlate with the duration of illness and the medication. So we think maybe the hippocampus volume in non-remission case is quite unstable. It's very easy to be regulated by other factors, particularly maybe antipsychotics. So maybe in terms of hippocampus, we can separate the patient into two groups. One group is they have a very stable hippocampus volume, and another group, their hippocampus is quite unstable because it can be correlated with the duration of illness or the medication. So that's very interesting. The last several slides I want to know, that's very interesting and it's worthy to note. Since I just mentioned about the most interesting part is right tail, and we did the maze study, and we found actually this reduction of right tail which can be explained by the duration of illness and the dosage of antipsychotics, has also exclusively correlated with the maze study. So this area could be very important for the patient with problem in the spatial navigation. So we have another study. We wanted to get into detail about the function of spatial navigation for schizophrenia. This could be another biomarker for the schizophrenia or for the treatment of schizophrenia. So I should conclude my presentation. And first, we just replicate all previous findings. And they found the reduction of hippocampus volume in schizophrenia. It doesn't matter the patient is in symptomatic remission or not. But some area, subfield, or longitudinal axis, we can see is different between the schizophrenia and the healthy control. But most importantly, we found the first data, and this shrinkage of right tail has a very good correlation with the function of spatial navigation. I think that we open another window for the study of schizophrenia. We should think about the third function of hippocampus in schizophrenia, which is showing the spatial navigation. So I would like to thank the organizer and inviting me here, and I would like to make an advertisement. It's this November, there will be the World Congress in Taiwan, and welcome everyone to attend this meeting. Thank you for your attention.